Good morning, Stampers. This is Juanette with Juanette's Paper Crafts, and today we are going to be making this sweet little card here. I've made a matching envelope for it since it's a fairly large card. It's finished as 5x7, but the really neat thing about this card is, watch it. Oh my gosh, this is so stinking cute. So you pull on this little tab, and these little ducks come out to meet their mommy. Isn't that just the most adorable thing? And they hide behind this barn door. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun to make. So we're going to make another one today, but using a different image from a stamp set. And there's just the little inside, and I like to use this Bird Ballad DSP because it's got like the little chicken feet on it. So let's get started. So the things that you're going to need is a card base that is 5x7. So it starts out with 10 inches by 7 inches, and you score it 5 inches, fold it, and burnish it. And that is your card base, and it is a top folding card. Then you are going to need a mat for over it, just to bring in a little bit of color. And I have chosen the Designer Series paper that is free with celebration right now. So this is some of it. It goes with the Thoughtful Blooms set. There's some pretty little umbrellas that go with the umbrella punch with raindrops there. Some pretty hearts with the heart punch pack. Boy, say that a couple of times. And then the Timeless Tulip set, which also has a punch. So that's the paper we're going to be using. And then you're going to need a mat for the top, which we will color, and that measures 6.5 by 4.5. And this is going to be the top of your card. Now, the stamp sets and supplies that we are using today is Thoughtful Blooms, this little stamp and punch. We are using the Fabled Friends. And what I did is, on the previous card, I used the little duck and ducklings, but this one I'm going to be using this little bunny rabbit there and the sentiment Easter greetings. Then on my little strip, your pull strip here, I used Love You, and I stamped it in the colors we're going to use. And there's the little love, and then the U is here, right there. And then this is from the annual catalog, and I haven't seen very many people use it, but I absolutely love this set. It is called the Barn Door. It comes with a die set, and we're going to be showing you all of those things that we're going to use out of this. And then finally, over the barn door, I use the Pine Wood Planks Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. So let's get started. So what we're going to do first is take our 6.5 by 4.5 inch card, and we're going to cut our slit for our slider to go through. So you're going to bring in your paper trimmer. I just want to make sure you guys can see this. And along the short end side, because you want your slit to be this way, you're going to lay your cardstock, and this is thick Whisper White. You're going to lay it right on the 1-inch mark and then butt it up against there. Then you're going to close your cutting blade and you're going to come down to the 1-inch mark, which is right there. Do you see how it has these nice little ruler marks here on this side too? It's fantastic. So we're going to just start at the 1-inch mark and cut down all the way to about the 5.5-inch mark. And then that gives us our slider part of our card. So then we're going to do our sky. So I took some low stick tape. I'm going to cover something to protect my surface here, and I'm going to just lay it on the bottom area just below that score line, just because I don't want any sky down here. And then I'm going to take my balmy blue ink and one of my blender brushes and a little stencil that I have here with clouds on it. And I'm just going to lay down a little bit of color. Let me just bring this mat down a little bit. So I've got plenty of room to start blending off of the paper. So you start off the paper and then bring it down. And we're just going to add a little bit of color just because I want this card to be a little bit on the pale side for spring colors. So then I'm going to turn my stencil, go off the page, and bring it down a little bit. And then just one more little area right down here. We do want to keep some of our white space here, and I think that's just fine. Then we want to move our tape to the top so that we can color our green in for our grass. So I'm going to remove the double-sided tape here, excuse me, not double-sided tape, our low-tack tape, and lay it over the top here. And then I'm just going to take some of my green, which I've decided to use Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to lay down a little bit of color here for our grass. Again, taking one of my green blender brushes and bringing it all the way in. And that's enough right there. Then I also am going to take the little stamp that is with the Fabled Friends stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp a few images of the grass here. And I don't mind if it comes up a little bit over the sky, so I'm going to remove that tape there, that purple tape there. And that just gives us a little bit of the image of grass there. Okay, that's good enough. So let's go ahead and lay down our mat, our first mat, so that it can dry. I'm just going to take some liquid glue. I like using this 3-in-1 Beacons glue that I get from my local craft store. And the reason I like it is because it is solvent-based, not water-based. And so it prevents your cardstock from warping. Just going to add a little bit here to the back. The other nice thing about it is it does give you a little bit of wiggle room so that you can make sure that you have an even border on all 4 sides. And I've just left a small little border here. Now I'm going to show you the images that I have cut out in advance off camera for this card. So you will need a small strip of Whisper White that measures 3/4 of an inch by about 6 inches. We are going to be cutting it off to the measurement that we need, but I'm going to show you in a little bit how to do that. Then I cut out the barn door and I stamped it with Daffodil Delight ink and then ran it through the embossing folder. Then I've got some embellishments here. From our tree builder punch, I cut out some tree images and trunks of the trees there. Then there's some parts to the barn door. Then out of the Fabled Friends stamp set, and then using this die that comes from the barn door set, I was able to stamp and die cut this little banner that's going to hang from the barn door. The thing, again, that is so fantastic about Stampin' Up! Is this sentiment that is from a completely different stamp set fits perfectly into this little wall hanging there. And then I also, using the punch from the Blooms, Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, I cut out a bunch of the flowers. Now I'm going to show you how to assemble this card. It's actually fairly easy. So what you're going to do is take your acetate, and this measures 3/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And what I do is I just save my packaging from like my blocks that I recently got. And cut it down because it is a really nice thick piece of acetate. Now I stamped out the rabbit here, and then I colored him with some Highland Heather, a little bit of light petal pink here, and then our soft suede and darker browns here. So what you're going to do is we need to attach this little bunny to our piece of acetate. I'm going to just check to make sure this is dry because I just put a little embellishment there, and I want to wait until that dried. So you're going to take a piece of your double-sided tape, put it on the back of the image that you want to slide out from behind your barn door. Then remove the release paper and then attach your acetate to the top. And it doesn't matter that this is a little bit longer because we're going to be trimming it down. So then what will happen is you will put your little bunny in here and he will slide across. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. That is so stinking cute. Doesn't take much to amuse me, does it? I think my grandkids, one of my grandkids is really going to enjoy this card. So that now we need to take our little pull tab and we're going to make sure that it has a channel to pull through. So this is why I cut it 1 inch down from the bottom. So again, you've got a 1 inch area here that is not cut, a 1 inch area here that's not cut, and then you have 1 inch here. So then if you take your strip of Whisper White, that is your pull tab, and only have it 3/4 of an inch, you've got plenty of room for it to pull through or channel through. So what I'm going to do is take some of our foam adhesive strips and I'm going to lay one strip just on the bottom of the back of our front panel. All the way across. So again, when we have our pull tab here behind our card, when I turn it over, whoops, didn't mean to drop it there. Okay, here we go. Let's try again. When I turn it over, see, it doesn't impede with the channel there, okay? And I do think I'm going to snip this off a little bit right here so it doesn't hang over that much. And you could pull here if you want. So now we're going to add our little bunny to our pull tab. So place your bunny that has the acetate on the back of it and put him in front of the grass. And we're going to bring him way over here to the side here. And then that way, when we put our barn door over him, he's going to be hidden. So again, lay your strip down here. Okay. Your little bunny where you want him. Then turn both of them over. And then you will know where to cut your acetate strip. So I only want it to be that long. So then now it's got more than enough room to pull. And I think I'm going to cut it just a tiny bit shorter because I noticed in my last card that it kind of stuck. So now again, I have my bunny there all the way to the end. I've got my pull tab here. So now I can attach my bunny to my pull tab. So holding everything together, turn it over, lay it down flat. I've got my acetate there. Then I'm going to take some of my double-sided adhesive, which is right here, and lay it across to attach that. You could also use Scotch tape if you want. So I just want that to be held in place. I am not going to pull off the backing off of this. It is just to hold the acetate bunny to the pull tab. So now when I turn it back over and pull on it, our bunny moves. See? And it may take a couple of times. And you could actually even put a little bit of wax paper in there and make that a little bit easier. Okay, so now that I know this is where I want my pull tab to go, then I can turn this over and cut off what I don't need. Now, I want to cut it right up to where the cut line is. And then I'm going to take another piece of the double-sided foam adhesive and lay it right there. This will help prevent our tab from going any further than right there, okay? Then you're going to add double-sided tape all over the back. But you're going to start right above where our cut line is. So you want it just right up against it, and this makes for a nice channel so that the pull tab does not fall out of the channel. I hope that's making sense. And then I'm going to be pretty generous with our foam tape. The thing I like about this foam strips from Stampin' Up! Is it's a little bit thicker than or a little bit higher up than our mini dimensionals and a lot of the other foam tapes that you can get from craft stores and what have you. You just want to make sure you don't have any foam tape here where your channel is for your pull tab. Okay, so there's our double-sided tape on the back of it. And when I pull on my little rabbit, he slides out nicely. Now, if you wanted to stamp a sentiment here, now would be the time to do it. But I have my Easter greetings sign that will go on top of my barn door. And then I have my little pull tab here that says, "Love you." So now we're going to add this to the top of our card. And you want to make sure, since this is a 5x7 card, that you have enough room for your pull tab and that it doesn't hang over. Otherwise, it won't fit in your envelope. So I'm just going to remove my backing here. And I do have him a little bit over to the left hand side, and that way I have plenty of room for my little pull tab here. So then just adhere that down, and when you adhere it right above there, and right below where the double-sided foam tape is, when you pull on it, he slides beautifully. So now that we can finish decorating. So what I have is this barn door, and I think maybe I want to distress this a little bit more with my crushed curry. And I believe I told you it was Daffodil Delight, but it is actually crushed curry. So I'm going to take my little yellow blending brush, and I'm just going to add a tiny, tiny bit here across it, just so it's not quite so white and stark. Even just that little bit added some texture to it. Perfect. Then the other thing I want to do is I want to add a little bit of color to my banner here, and I'm going to use my balmy blue for that, and my little sponge daubers, and I have each color in a case so that I can have one little dauber for each color. So there's my balmy blue one. When I open up my case, I know it's there, the third one over. And it's this one here. So put a little bit of ink on it and then just daub it around. And I think that helps it right there, right? Very nicely. Yeah, adds a little bit more color there. Maybe I'll see if I can get any in there. So now let's finish assembling our card. So I went ahead and put some dimensionals on the back of my little sign here. Pull them off and add them to the front, add it to the front of my barn door. I think right about there. Then I'm going to take all my little, I think I said what my mother would call them, doodads. And I'm going to start adding them to my card. Now with that barn door, you have a little handle. And I'm going to take our fine tip glue pen. Excuse my reach in front of the camera. And we have a nice little handle here. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue here. And add that to the front of the barn door. And that will dry clear. Then there is also these little brackets that would make it look like it's sliding. I actually think it goes like that. So I'm going to add them. One there. I know I have another one around here somewhere. Ah, there it is. Just a tiny little bit of glue there. Now, while I'm letting that dry a little bit, I'm going to add my trees. And I've got 3 trees. I have 2 of them cut out of soft suede and 1 cut out of early espresso. And then I die cut using the tree builder punch out of designer series paper. 3 different patterns for the leaves, and I thought they were fun because they're really different. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of these, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use them all yet. And I do like that the branch shows in the front, so that's why I'm gluing it to the front. I like that little bit of a look. So we'll just let that one dry. Then we'll do our other one. So you only want your foam tape on the top, the left-hand side, and the bottom, because you want to be able to pull your little bunny through the slider part. So if you put foam adhesive here, it won't be able to pull. So we're just going to pull that off. So then I adhere my barn door over my little bunny with that foam tape that's on the back. This little piece here is from the die set of the barn door, and I just snip it off because it's a little bit longer than what I need. I add a little bit of liquid glue to the back of it and place it over the top of the barn door so it looks like those brackets can slide over the barn door so that it can open and close. Now here in a minute, when I go to try my slider mechanism, I realize that I have adhered my barn door a little bit too low. But no problem. Thank goodness I was able to lift up the barn door very gently and then reattach it a little bit higher so that the bunny's ears don't catch on the door. So now I'm going to speed up the video a little bit here and leave you with some music while I finish decorating the card, and I'll see you back in a moment. So here I'm adding a little bit of Wink of Stella to give the Easter sign a little bit of glimmer. And on the flowers, I added little enamel dots to each one of them with the coordinating colors. Whenever a new catalog comes out or a new product with any of those kind of embellishments, I go ahead and order them and keep them in my craft room because you never know when you might need something. And I like to have them on hand right from the beginning of a project. So now I'm adding little flowers all over the bottom there on the door and right underneath the trees. And in the final card, because that one middle tree looks to be just floating, I add a heel to it and more grass, and you will be able to see that, and it does look a little bit better. And I also added a little bow that I colored in Calypso Coral to the top of that Easter greeting sign. Then I added some designer series paper to the inside of the card, and then a white piece of Whisper White cardstock over that to be able to write a little note to my grandson. So here is my final card, my hidden slider card. It does fit into a standard 5x7 envelope. I will be hand delivering it, so it doesn't need to be mailed because it does have quite a bit of dimension to it. There are a couple of things that I added to improve it. I felt like this middle tree didn't look very good because it was just kind of floating up there in the sky. So I colored a little bit of a hill in there using Granny Apple Green and then stamped some grass there, and I feel that grounded that tree. I also added a little bow there that I colored in Calypso Coral. On the pull tab itself, it did say before pull here, and I shortened it to just pull. And then that little bunny slides in and out fairly nicely. I did trim off his little whiskers because they were catching. His ear does catch a little bit. Maybe if I bend it down and back a little bit, it won't. I'm going to try that. We'll see. Oh, no, it still does. But anyway, just have to be careful with it and kind of push that in. The other thing I did was I reinforced this pull tab because it was a little flimsy. So I added another piece of white cardstock here. And if you find that it is catching, you just add a little piece of Scotch tape over it and it helps it slide easier. Then the other thing I did was put some of the designer series paper on the inside, a place to write a note to my grandson, and then added those little flowers there. So I think that card came out quite nicely. And then here is a picture of the other card that I made with the little ducklings. And I did make an envelope for it, but this one is just so sweet. And this will go to my other grandson. Look at how those little ducks come in and out. They don't get caught, so I really think that's cute. Happy Easter, happy spring. Then you pull it out. Happy, happy everything. Oh, just when I say it's not catching, it catches. And then a place here for a sentiment. So thank you for joining me at my YouTube channel, Juanette's Paper Crafts. If you would like any of these products, feel free to shop at my 24/7 online store at JuanetteHewitt.stampinup.net. And I will see you again soon with another video tutorial. Happy crafting!